Hey, what's up? So for several years, I've been experimenting with a bunch of different pursuits in order to discover more about what my purpose is and how to truly live up to my potential. Whatever that means. For a while, I figured that this is just your classic quarter-life uncertainty. But over time, I realized that there are many of us out there who are striving to achieve a greater degree of self-actualization. Stick around to the end of the video to find out more about how to self-actualize and become the best version of yourself. Plus, look out for the Disney references sprinkled throughout. Self-actualization is the complete realization of one's potential and the full development of one's abilities and appreciation for life. In other words, self-actualization can generally be thought of as the full realization of one's creative, intellectual, and social potential through internal drive, versus through external rewards like money, status, or power. One of the most famous minds who worked with the concept of self-actualization was psychologist Abraham Maslow, who contextualized his theory of self-actualization within a hierarchy of needs. Basically, this means that there is believed to be a progression of needs that each person meets in order to ultimately find self-actualization. It looks like this. The first is physiological needs. These include needs that keep us alive, such as food, water, shelter, warmth, and sleep. Then there is safety needs, the need to feel secure, stable, and unafraid. Then love and belongingness needs, the need to belong socially by developing relationships with friends and family. Then there's esteem needs, the need to feel both self-esteem based on one's achievements and abilities, as well as recognition and respect from others. And ultimately, you reach your self-actualization needs, the need to pursue and fulfill one's unique potential. Now, many people are familiar with Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs, in which he argued that basic needs such as safety, belonging, and self-esteem must be satisfied to a reasonable healthy degree before being able to fully realize one's unique creative and intellectual potential. However, while this pyramid model can provide some general guidance on the path towards self-actualization, it does have some limitations. For example, plenty of people lack adequate food and shelter but still maintain strong relationships and respect others. Although Maslow's emphasis was less on a rigid hierarchy of needs and more on the notion that self-actualized people are motivated by health, growth, humanitarian purpose, and the real problems of life, I don't feel it's completely necessary to progress along each dimension in order to start living life to its true potential. In fact, our hierarchy of needs is better illustrated by this graph, where our needs kind of overlap with each other at the same time. This essentially shows that there isn't a systematic way of trying to live up to your fullest potential. I think it's important to highlight that there are some of us out there who experience what's known as the Jonah Complex, which is a fear of success because it could allow you to recognize your own talent and ability. I don't really think that this is all that common, but it's something to be aware of, especially if you find yourself getting in the way of your own happiness and fulfillment. Self-actualization does not mean living the perfect life devoid of problems. In fact, far from it. It just means that you are able to recognize your limitations and work on them, and your strengths and build on them. In fact, Maslow later added another dimension to motivation, which was called Transcendence. This is my personal favorite. It's the level where you are able to find complete actualization beyond your own gain. This is where you strive to give yourself to something beyond yourself, to try and make the lives of others around you better. Essentially living a purpose-driven existence. Now at this point you might just want to know how to actually become the best version of yourself. Well, there really isn't a script for this. You essentially have to determine what that means for you and what your fullest potential is. True self-actualization may be more of a long-term, even lifetime goal than a quick road to self-improvement. That said, working towards developing your purpose and striving for excellence is a great way to lead a more fulfilling life. We all hold different values, desires, and capacities. As a result, self-actualization will manifest itself differently in different people. One person may self-actualize through artistic expression, while another will do so by becoming a parent, and someone else will do it by starting a business. In my opinion, it's an admirable goal to work towards. If you live your life with purpose and authenticity and show concern for others aside from just yourself, you're likely headed down the right track. I hope that you enjoyed this video and it gives you some idea of whether self-actualization is something you'd like to pay more attention to. At the end of the day, greater self-awareness and perspective on what fulfills you will always help. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel as part of your journey towards transcendence. Thanks as always for watching. My name is Vihan Shalaya. I'll see you next time.